Let's get started on the training application webinar. Just kind of an outline of what we're going to be talking about today: benefits of tracking safety training, the training application features, training methods, and reporting. So let's talk about some benefits. We can reduce the number of injuries and deaths, property damage, legal liabilities, illnesses, work comp claims, and missed time from work. That's the goal. It also helps the trainer keep the required OSHA-mandated safety training courses organized and up to date. Safety training classes help establish a safety culture in which employees themselves help promote proper safety procedures while on the job, at home, and on the road. Because if we are not safe also at home and on the road, it's still going to affect our job, our coworkers, and our overall culture at work. Some of the training application features: access and update training materials in one web-based system. You can input instructions, videos, photos, tests, related supporting materials directly into each class. You can link your corporate policies to your training programs. There are printable certifications with trainer and trainee signatures. There's live scoring of test answers and results, trending of quiz scores for individual employees. You can track and trend correct and incorrect answers to individual questions, and there are robust reporting functions for individuals and classes. We offer 3 training methods. There's traditional, scan form training, and my quizzes. And we're going to go into more detail about each of those 3 methods here in just a few minutes. The traditional training is an attendance-based training, so attendance equals compliance. The scan form training is a classroom setting where you'll have a trainer presenting the materials to the class, and then the employees or the students of the class will mark their answers on a bubble sheet quiz form, which then will be scanned back into our system and calculate your results for each quiz for each employee. The My Quizzes method is an online training where individuals will just take their training one at a time. So they would review their materials, take their quiz online, and again, it would automatically score their results for each of their tests. So just quickly, this is a quick look at traditional training. Compliance is based on attendance, and you can see your class is set up and your attendees are set up. And like I said, we'll go into more detail on this in just a few minutes. Scan form training, you can have a maximum of 20 questions for your quiz. They can be true-false questions or multiple choice questions or yes-no questions. The scan forms are verified by the QR codes, and it puts the scan form in the proper meeting and the proper meeting date and the employee and the class name. There's a system grading that grades each quiz and calculates those grades for you. And there's email notifications if there is a problem with the scan form. The My Quizzes training, you can have unlimited questions. You're not limited to just the 20 questions. Again, there's a system grading. You can have true-false questions. You can view the number of quiz attempts, and you can have multiple choice questions. And there's a place at the bottom for each employee to sign after each quiz. The role level access for training, this shows that the location view role level does not have access to setting up meetings or content, or they cannot do any edits. But they will still be able to do their My Quiz online, and they'll still be able to complete scan forms, which are then uploaded into the system. Location edit and admin, region and business unit can all add a meeting. They can edit a meeting, they can add attendees to a meeting, and only the corporate level, role level, can create training content. So let's go to the first method called traditional training. So we're going to go to applications, training, and this is going to show us our list of all the training topics that have been created by corporate on the admin side. At the very top, you'll need to select a location, and you might have to select departments if you use departments. You can also sort this list by position types. I like to keep mine at select all so I don't miss any positions, so I don't miss any of the training classes listed below. So below, let's look at the training classes. These are your various class names. And on the right-hand column, you'll see whether there's an active quiz for this training course. So some you'll see have quizzes and some do not have quizzes. The very left column shows where you can add and edit a meeting, and you can also print a blank sign-up sheet. You'll also notice for some classes, you will be allowed to exempt employees from the class. So I want to go to a specific training topic called coffee making. And I'm going to go in and add edit meetings. So again, this is the class called coffee making, and I have selected my Minneapolis location. And then these start date range and end date range, these are dates that allow me to see what's in the grid below. So if you've got several classes listed over the years, you may only want to see the last year or two's worth of meeting dates, and you can shorten up this list. So you just press on the date icon and select your dates and hit search, and it will update the grid. So if I look at the grid, I'm seeing the meeting date that's been created, the date that that meeting was entered, who entered it, if there's a department selected for this meeting, the instructor's name, any other notes, the date it might have been changed and who changed it, and then the number of files that have been uploaded to this meeting. So let's go to edit meeting first. And again, we're looking at our coffee making class at the Minneapolis location, and we're at the meeting details tab. We have the date of the meeting, the trainer, which you can select from the drop-down list, and the time training began and time training ended is optional. You can put those times in. And this is the other notes that I was talking about. You can add whatever you need to in this text box. So let's move on down the page to the training information. This is instructions that corporate has put in for the trainer giving the training. So they're going to have them review the proper coffee brewing methods, do hands-on demo, and review the policy. I've made a hyperlink to the coffee making policy procedure, which if you click on, will take you directly to that policy. And you can review the policy and then back to your training information. The next tab down is class content. So you can see there are several different types of media that you can upload here. So I've got a JPEG of a coffee machine. I've got a PDF of a quiz, and I have a Word document of proper coffee brewing methods. You can also upload videos. Another thing that you can add in the training information for the trainer is you can hyperlink to YouTube videos in here as well. The very last tab is supporting files, and this is often used to upload a training roster. So I've uploaded my roster, and I'll show you where we'll print that here shortly. So this is everything on the meeting details page. The next tab over is Manage Attendees. So when I click on that, I can see these are the attendees that I've already assigned for this class. And I can edit attendees if I need to add more or remove people that didn't come to the class. So the names in red are required, and they're required based on their position type. And the ones that are in black are the other employees that are at this location that are not required. You also have the option to select regional business unit and corporate level employees. Refresh your list, and they will also all show up for training. You can also find an employee not at this location. So if I type in a name, it'll bring up all the Chris's that are not at this location, and I can add that employee. And then when you're finished, save. So I'm back to the Manage Attendees tab, and I can go back to the Meeting Details tab. And then I'm going to go back one more to our list of meetings. Now in this grid, I'm still in the coffee making class for Minneapolis, and I can look at the other meetings that have been set up for this class. I can also, from this grid, manage attendees from out here. And if I click on that, it's going to take us right back to the same page for Manage Attendees. And again, I can go back out to the meeting grid. And here's your training logs. If you click on the training logs, it will open up a window for this class, for the business unit, region, location, the date this was held, the date of the previous class, the instructor, time started and ended. Here's your topics that the instructor covers, and the attached documents, and even the uploaded training roster. So when you click the print button, you can have this available during your training and have your attendees sign their names. Once the class is finished, you can go back to Edit Meeting, the supporting files. You can scan and upload your training roster here to the uploaded files. So I had printed the training roster, and the attendees all signed their name. So I'm going back to the list of meetings, and I'm going to go back one more to the list of all the classes. And I'm going to, again, look at the coffee making class and see the blank sign-up sheet. So this is a blank sign-up sheet where you can fill in the information yourself, the date, the time, the trainer. Again, you've got all your documentation for the trainer, all the uploads, but this time it's going to have a list of all the employees based at this location, and if they have a red asterisk by their name, those are the ones that are required to take this class based on their position type. So again, you can print this roster as well and use it. The last thing I want to show you on this page is the exempt employees. So if I go into this class and looked at exempt employees, it has a listing of all the employees at this location, and then you can check them and add to the list. And then you'll see these are the employees that are excluded from this training. So they won't show up as non-compliant if they do not attend this training. All right, that's all I have for traditional training. We'll move on to Chris to talk about scan form and my quizzes.
All right, guys, we're going to talk about scan forms and then my quizzes. So same thing for a scan form training, we're going to want to go to applications and training. It's going to be the same page for all three of our trainings. They're all going to be listed here. So I am going to scroll down to our scan form class, which is fire prevention. So like the traditional training, we'll go into add edit meetings to add our meeting. Again, page is the exact same for all three of our training types. So it's going to look similar throughout all three. So to add a new meeting, you'll select the add new meeting date. I have a class created, so I'm going to go into edit meeting here. So on this page, we have our meeting details. Again, at the top, we have our class, fire prevention, location is Minneapolis. We need our date and trainer information. And like Jenny said, we have our time training began and ended, which is an optional field that you would like to put in. Any other notes, you can list those out on the other notes page. If we go down, we have the same training information. So for any type of notes that we want to add for our scan form class, we can add those in. Any of the class content, again, can be added and uploaded into that class content, and any supporting files as well can be uploaded at the end. So this looks all the same as what our traditional does. The only catch is when we go into manage attendees here, since it is a scan form class, when we first enter in, we don't want to select anyone for the manage attendees here. So we're not going to go in manually and select add edit attendees. Where we want to go is to our scanning tab. So when we go into our scanning tab, we have a couple different options that we can fill out and that we can print our scan forms by. So the easiest one is just going to be print scan form by employee, but we do have by department, as well as anyone that hasn't attended the meeting yet, or if we just want a blank scan sheet for this class, we can bring that in. You will, when you do this, have to remember your RCI ID and look it up in the system. So I'm going to go to print scan form by employee. So while this loads, like I said, this print scan form by employee, how it's a little different than the others is it's already going to give us the employees' names as well as their RCI ID. So we're going to be listed out by all the employees that are at this location. So we can do a couple different things. If you'd like to just remove all employees, you can select that remove all. We do have a feature where we can just add all our employees that are required. So this is everyone that we need to be compliant, is everyone that's required. We can also add all employees that are at the location. If it is just a location training, maybe we want everyone, even if not everyone's required. And if there are some employees, maybe they're not there. If Nicole didn't show up, we can just remove her out by clicking the trash can button there. Also at the top of the page, if there's someone else maybe that is not at your base location, but they're there during the time of the training, we can search for users as well and add them into our list of employees. So we have our list made out. If we go down to the bottom of the page here, we'll click the print scan form by employee. This is going to bring up a PDF of all of the scan forms in one big nice file for you. Some notes here while we're kind of talking about it. When we go to print this page, Something to keep in mind is that we do want to keep our scan forms to actual size. So that is how it comes out. We'll notice at the left-hand side of the page, it says fit to page. Now watch my scan form here. If I select that, you'll notice that it kind of shrinks our view of our scan form. So I'm just going to kind of click on and off of that. We do not want our scan forms as fit to page because it does shrink our page, and that's just going to throw our scan off. So make sure that fit to page is not turned on. We want actual size, and that's what the view is going to come up as unless you have that selected. So we'll print off our scan forms and fill them out. So I'm going to flip over to our PowerPoint real quick. We're going to talk about some best practices for our scan forms. So for printing, we want to make sure that you're either printing in grayscale or color. Either one is going to be fine. It does not matter. Like I said, we want to keep it as actual size and not fit to page. While doing your quiz, blue or black ink are best for taking the quizzes, as well as keeping your signature in the provided area. So we don't want a huge signature down at the bottom of the page where it covers our barcodes or QR codes down there at the bottom. Also, make sure that you're not writing outside of the answer boxes, as well as doodling on the quiz or QR codes. Here's some that have thrown out some bad scans. So when these get uploaded back and they do have the doodles or maybe a big signature covering up these codes, what it's going to do is throw out that scan. So your quiz, if you doodle on it, will not get counted. It would have to be re-entered. You're going to have to do it all over again and make it just extra work on you as well as the trainer for uploading those. We also want to make sure that your PDFs, when you scan those back in, that they're not uploaded in upside down, because those will also get thrown out because it's trying to look a certain way. And if it's uploaded upside down, then it will get kind of thrown out there. So some continued, after you're done completing your quiz, we scan those back in. You can scan multiple quizzes as one large PDF document. You can do different classes. So if you do maybe 2 or 3 quizzes, 2 or 3 classes, and you have quizzes for each, you can have those as one large PDF document. And I will show you where to upload the multiple quiz, multiple class upload, or there is the option where you can just upload by your meeting and by class. You can scan back in grayscale or color. Like I said, you'll want your scan to be set to actual size and not fit to page. And the resolution that's best is 300 dpi, and you can find that on your scanner as well. So I'm going to back out of this page. And like I said, if we want to just upload our fire prevention scan forms, we can come to our scanning tab, hit upload printed scan quiz form, and that's going to upload your PDF documents that you've scanned back into the system. If I go back to 2 more pages, and if I go back to our home page here, like I said, if you have multiple classes with multiple quizzes and you have just one PDF document that has multiple classes, you can upload on the home page here as well. Make sure you're in your right location, and that's going to send those scans off to their correct class. So it does save you some time, some clicks, just to upload them from the home page here, and that's how the QR code kind of works and takes you to the right class, the right meeting. So now to view those results, if we go back down to our fire prevention and we go into our edit meeting, if we go to our quiz results tab after we uploaded these in, you'll notice that it scores it already for us. If someone does not have that score needed, they will show in red and their attempts will show. So for example, for Chris here, if we want to go in and view his quiz, we can select the See Quiz button. So if we look here, it does mark on this page that the questions that he got wrong. And this is also note, this is for location admin users and above to see this. So if your location edit you will not have the access to go in and change those answers. So it will be location admin and above to change these. So you can sit down with the employees. You can make those changes to the class. So say that you talk the quiz over, maybe kind of talk out through that employee what they were thinking, and you're able to change those answers. We can come down and make a comment that we talked over questions. So we're going to go down and just save that we talked it over with the employee. Now the actual score is 100%. We're going to show that there was 2 quiz attempts. We do have, if we go in, say we want to take a look at Chandra's information, we can also look at the scan forms that were uploaded in. So if we take a look here, we're going to see her scan sheet that was uploaded back in. We're able to see the answers as well as the signature provided. So while we're looking at this, I'm going to bring up another page here just for some different example scan sheets, some kind of best practices while filling out your scan sheet. So if we look, X's will work. There is enough where it kind of picks up what the answers were for our quizzes. We keep scrolling here. Check marks are kind of hit or miss. When it comes with a longer tail, like some of these have, I can zoom in just a little bit too. A longer tail, if they're getting into the other boxes, it will mess up. It won't take the quiz. It'll say that there was an error. It could bring up an exception, and we'll talk about that in a second. We keep scrolling. Blue ink will work. Just make sure that we're staying in the line, staying within the circle. Again, blue ink, as well as using the X. And if we get to the bottom here, if you do not use our actual scan sheets and you try to make your own, fill them out, they will not work, obviously, because we do not have the QR codes. The questions don't line up. So you probably may laugh right now and say, who would do that? But that has happened before. We do see those, as well as the doodling. So as clean as you can keep the sheet, as clean as you can make your answers and your signature, those will go through and you won't have to redo them and make that extra busy work. I'm going to go back. We will back out of the quiz here. So like I kind of mentioned with the exceptions, we don't have any on this quiz page here, but there will be an extra button that comes up for if there is an exception on any of our scan sheets. What it'll be is that it's maybe missing, if you do the scan form where you fill in your RCI ID, maybe it's missing an RCI ID, maybe missing a number, things like that. Those will pop up. There will be a button, and it populates only when there is an exception. So you will also kind of get an alert for that. So just something to keep in mind. We also have certificates, and these can be created on the admin side for your certificate. It does take your signature, and these can be customized to look really pretty, or it could just be real basic that you've prevented the course or you've completed the course, and it shows your signature and your training date. There is at the bottom of the page here for your scan sheets. You can, and the trainer can print this out if they are location admin and above. We do have quiz questions. So if we open this up, you can hand this out to your employees. It does let you know that it's not a scan form and it's not to be uploaded. So this is your answer or your quiz form, as well as the answer sheet that you can print out. You can look at this while filling out your answer sheet. Note again that if you fill this out and upload it, it will not take it, but it is a great way where you don't have to create that extra form. We create it for you and have it ready to be printed off. And then if you also need an answer sheet by you, we also provide that as well. And it'll just let you know the question and then what the correct answer is. So that is our scan forms. I'm going to back out to the home page again, and we will talk about my quizzes. Again, to get to our My Quizzes, we'll want to go to Applications and Training. You'll choose your location, departments, any positions if you want to view it down some more. And then we can go into our Add Edit meeting for Blood-Borne Pathogens, and this is going to be our My Quiz. Like I said, same pages that we're going through, same process. When you add a new meeting, we'll hit Add New Meeting Date. So we're going to go in and select Edit Meeting. I'm going to go to our Meeting Details page, talk over that again. We have our date, trainer, again, the same things that are needed for traditional and scan forms, your optional time, any other notes, and for your My Quizzes, you can require signatures to be had. You can turn that off if you don't need a signature for your My Quiz, but a lot of people like using that just so you can kind of tell if it was that correct person that entered that quiz. So the training information and class content, that will populate with that My Quiz. So the users will be able just to log in, see this information on their My Quiz sheet, follow it through, as well as filling out their questions. So we can go to the Manage Attendees tab. Now this one, we will want to go in and select Add Edit Attendees. We want to come through and choose everyone that we do need to take this My Quiz. So this is the same as what Jenny showed you earlier. You'll come in and you'll choose the employees. Anyone that's not at this location, you can search for those and add those employees. And then when you're done, we'll come down and select Save. So once you choose your attendees and select Save, that's going to automatically create that quiz for those employees. So we have one created here. I'm going to pop over to another browser. So this is on one of the employees that were assigned a quiz. You do have on your home page, all the way on the right-hand side, we do have My Quizzes. So on this view, you can select either the tab here, or we can go to Applications and My Quizzes. So when we open that up, it looks exactly the same as what we just viewed. So to take this quiz, we'll select Blood-Borne Pathogens. Like I said, that class content will show up. You're able to view your PowerPoint, and then you can also print out a document as well of your quiz. So we can go through, choose our answers really quick. Then I'm going to miss one. I'm going to miss two for you guys just so we can see. You can see the name here. You can see my great writing. And then I'm going to save our quiz. So we do have an option for when you miss a question, it will let you know, it'll tell you what grade you got, and then it'll let you know what 2 questions that you missed. So this is a feature that you can talk to your account manager to get turned on for your location. It is just an account setting, so you cannot set it up. You will have to talk to your account manager, but you are able to view the questions that you missed, so you'll know, okay, 4 and 5, I can kind of look through and see, obviously 5 is going to be true, and then I need to make sure that I get the right selection on 4. So if I go back now, that quiz is still there for me. So if I go in one more time, I will get these right answers in here. I do have the option to edit and add a new signature. I'm just going to keep that one. So I'm going to save now. And then it lets you know that I passed the quiz, I got 100%. And then now that I go back to that My Quiz page, it's just going to show, it'll take away, but it looks like there's an older meeting date as well. But that does take away, so your meeting date, you'll have to check that. Maybe if you do have old ones, they will show. So I'm going to go back over to our account here. So on our meeting, if I select quiz results, then we're able to come in and view. We're able to see who's actually taken the quizzes, who still needs to take the quiz. So again, this works just like the scan forms as well. We can go in and view the employees' actual quiz that they did. We see what they missed. Maybe they didn't catch the little typo there. They're going through too quick, but you can make those same edits like we did on the scan form trainings. Certificates do show as well. So we're able to pull that up, say that they met the requirements for the class, see their signature, and when the training date was. You are able to view if there are any other regional business unit or corporate employees. We can refresh your user list. If there's no one else, they will not show, but those will populate. So maybe if you're missing someone, you're not sure where they're at, make sure that you check those filter options. And then also you have the quiz questions. If you want to print those out, have them by your hand, or you can just follow along on your My Quiz. So that is our My Quizzes. It's really simple. We don't have to do anything with that scanning tab. The scanning and My Quiz both do have that scanning tab showing. It's just how you choose your attendees, whether you actually choose them to send out a My Quiz, or if you print off that scan sheet, upload it back in. So there are some similarities, just some kind of end notes before we go on to something else. With your My Quizzes, like Jenny said, you can have unlimited questions for. There's no cap on what you can have for your scanning. The scan sheets will only have 20 questions. So just keep that in mind when you guys are creating those classes. And if you do have any questions, just let us know in that question box. So I'm going to go back to our home page here. We're going to talk about class groups just really quick. So if we go to application and training class groups, this is something that can be turned on for your portal. So this is an easy way to bulk add meeting dates for classes. So it's really used for new employee orientation. So to get those new employees up to date on their trainings, you can have a class group. So if we go in, you'll notice that we have, a handful of classes that all fit for the new employee orientation. You're able to choose a date, trainer, any notes. We can put that as a new employee orientation for whatever the employee's name is. If it's Nicole, we can add that. Choose her, say that it's new employee orientation for Nicole Basin. All of the class content will show for the classes listed. So she can print all these out. She can view those, have them ready, handy for her. And then when we hit save, it's going to create a new meeting date for the date that you enter, as well as a trainer and employee for all of your classes. Keep in mind for any scan form or My Quizzes that the employees will have to go in and do those. And for the scan forms, you will have to go into the meetings and print those out because they are created after that meeting is created. So something to keep in mind, it is a great, easy way to get meetings in there for new employees or for just big class groups. The next feature I'd like to show you are the training calendar. Now this is a great way just to kind of keep track. I'm going to hide the positions really quick so we can have a clear view. It's a great way to kind of keep your training into your meeting months. You can kind of keep a track of what you want to complete each month. This does not mean that you can't have a blood-borne pathogens meeting in June like we just had for our example. It's just kind of a filler in for your calendar. But if you follow along, then that's great. But it's not like if you have a meeting afterwards that it's not going to say that you cannot do that because it's outside the month. So if we kind of scroll down here, we're able to see our nice 12-month view of what each class, when we're going to do those in each month. We can add a meeting right from this page, and we can view those trainings. If I unhide our positions, you're even able to see what positions are required to do those trainings. So it's a really handy tool. I know a lot of people like using it. You can also fill it down by your position. So if we want to look just for accountants, we're able to see that we're not taking one each month. There are a couple breaks. So for your position, you're able to view at what trainings you do have coming up. I flip back home. And then now we're going to talk about some training alerts that we get. So this one is an example of what we have. This is for our Monday morning training alert that goes out. You do get it for the locations that you have access to. It gives you just an up-to-date view of who's coming due, within the next 30 or 90 days, depending on what the threshold is, whether they're overdue or that they have a previous meeting date, it's just coming due. So if I go to our homepage here, you'll see that you also get this alert into your actual alert on the homepage. So we can kind of take a look. We'll see that we do have some overdue classes at this Minneapolis location for employees. So for the location manager and for even anyone can get these alerts. They will be set up by corporate users, but they are very good for higher level users, whether they be managers or department heads. You're able to just kind of keep track of who's coming due or who's coming expired within those classes. So now, guys, I'm going to hand it over to Jenny, and we're going to talk about some alerts, or not alerts, reports. Excuse me.
Just real quick before I start talking about reports, I wanted to also mention that we've got a new feature on our Insight Via where we have dashboards, and we have different dashboard cards. So this is an example of some of the cards that we have on our dashboard that are available that are training related. So there's a training compliance pie chart, training non-compliant users, and an ad hoc training meeting where you can go in and set up a training meeting from here as well. So I just wanted to point that out quickly. And if you don't have that turned on, you can ask your account manager. You'll see try our new dashboard here. And also under applications, it's the very first tab that you can access the dashboard and build those for yourself. There are other topics besides training in the dashboard for other applications like incident reporting and audits and preventative maintenance. So let's take a look at a few reports. We've got a few pulled up here. The first one is our training compliance report, and you can access that by clicking on Report Library, Location, Training, and Training Compliance. And then when you come to this page, you'll see that you're on the Training Compliance, and then you'll want to set your parameters. So we're looking at just our North America business unit in the North region and the Minneapolis location, and we're looking at all of our classes and all of our position types and view report. So we are able to now see that this is the training compliance report as of today's date. This is our business unit, region, location, our class topic, and then the employees listed along with their position type. And then it's telling us who's compliant and who's not compliant. For instance, Nicole is compliant. It shows the last time she had this class in her meeting date, and she took a quiz and her score and then number of attempts. For Tyler, he's non-compliant. It shows his quiz score and his number of attempts. So he's non-compliant because he didn't meet the max score that he needed to pass this quiz. But when we look at Odin's, he's non-compliant because probably this is an annual required training, and it's been more than a year since his last training, and that's why he is showing non-compliant without a quiz score. And the same with coffee making, it's showing us our compliant, and then fire prevention. So we're seeing our different training topics, each employee, and whether they're compliant or not. This is a really great way to keep track of if everybody's getting their training completed as required. The second report we're going to look at is the employee training compliance report. So this is per employee. So we're going to pick our business unit, region, location, and then we're going to pick our employee from the drop-down list. and the classes, and view report. And now we're going to get a listing of all the classes that they've had and if they're compliant. So it shows all the past classes. It'll say whether they're compliant and their meeting location. So Chris has had these classes, compliant, and the locations, and plus the past classes and meeting dates that Chris has attended. Let's look at one more. This is the trainer meeting details report. This is a fairly new report. Again, you're going to pick your parameters and view report. And this is just going to show you a lot of information that is on that meeting details page. So it's got your instructor name, the class name, meeting date, location, start time, end time, and any notes that might be attached to that meeting as well. So you've got a nice summary of the meeting details page. Now, if you'd like to subscribe to any of these reports, make sure you set your parameters the way you would like and view report. View report. And now we can come up here and decide, okay, I want to see this report on the first of every month, and I'd like to see it in an Excel, and I can give it a friendly name of my training meeting details monthly. And then when I click add subscription, that'll be a new subscription that will be added to my other list of subscriptions. Now, you can also subscribe others. And if I click subscribe others, I'm coming to the same report. I can see the report and the parameters, and I can pick other people that I want to get this report. And if their name is in red, that means they do not have an email address. And if their name is in black, they do have an email address. So they'll need to have an email address in order to receive this report by email. So you click the people that you want to receive this and add subscription for others. You can give it a friendly name as well. Let me go back to just report library. When I click on this, you can see this is the subscription that I just made for myself as Chris Mack. So my friendly name was Training Meeting Details Monthly, and my description is the Trainer Meeting Details Report. I scheduled it on monthly on the 1st in an Excel format, and it's a new subscription. You can also look at reports as lists. So you can list out all your reports by groups. You can see they're all listed here. Or if you want to see just training reports, you can click just the training report group, and you can see all the reports that are related to training. And if you want to view one, you just want to click View. Again, set your parameters as you like and view report. So I think that concludes most of our training on the training application. We do have a couple of questions that have been submitted, and I think Chris is going to tell us about those.
Yeah. So one is, and you guys can go ahead, if you have any questions, feel free to add them in. The first question that we had was, can you show how to view actual bubble sheets again? So this will be for after that our scan sheets have been uploaded. So where you'll go is to training. I'm going to scroll down. You'll find your class that you had your scan sheets in. So it was fire prevention. Then where you'll go is you'll edit your meeting again. And it's on the quiz results tab. We can go in and view See Quiz. So if I select the arrow button under See Quiz next to my employee, That's going to load our actual quiz, and then we are able to view scanned PDF of original quiz. So this is where we can see the actual bubble sheets again of what people have been putting in, and you're able to see how they answered, as well as their signature. If they made any doodles, anything like that, you can view that. So this is how we view that. And then if you want to actually view the very first scan sheets, we'll back out of here. And then that's under the scanning tab as well. You're able to print your scan form by employee. And once that loads, it is at the bottom where you can print scan form by employee. That's going to bring us our blank pages. So when you want the blank pages, you'll want to go to the scanning tab. If you want those actual results of the uploaded quiz, you'll go to quiz results, see quiz, and then you can view that actual PDF. So does anyone else have any questions? If you do, feel free to enter those in. So we'll hang out here for just a second, see if anyone has any questions. All right, it looks like we do have another question. You are welcome, Jen. Are certificates available to all, or does that have to be turned on? So that is on that administrative side, so you will have to be a corporate user. You are able to add in your training certificates. There is a section in your training content admin page where you can add certificates, and if it is turned on for the class, they will be for all employees that have completed the quiz. So if we go into our class again, those will show up for all of our quizzes, but that will have to be entered in. It will have to be entered in on that training content page, and you can just, you can talk to your account manager about that, and we'll be more than glad to kind of show you where to go, how to set those up. But it is training content admin. There is a text box for it where you can kind of fill in that information.
And those certificates can be used for scan form training, My Quizzes training, and now we also have an option where you can turn on to create certificates for traditional training as well. So if you want those turned on for any of your types of training, just let your account manager know and they'll get that turned on for you.
So, are there any other questions that you guys have?
I thought I'd real quickly say, I kind of skipped over this part, I don't know why. Chris pointed it out, but once you get into your class, your fire prevention, and we're looking at the list of meetings that have been created for this fire prevention, to add a new meeting, you use this button that says Add New Meeting Date. And when you click on that, it's going to open a blank meeting details page. And this is where you add your meeting date, you select your trainer, and then again, you're going to see your training information, your class content, and it won't even allow you to go select attendees until you've got a date selected and your trainer selected. So it's going to always automatically bring you to this meeting details page first, where you enter your date, your trainer, and then you can go manage your attendees and add them. Unless you're scanning, again, you'll just go directly to the scanning page and print those scan forms. This is also the page where you can delete a meeting if needed. Sometimes you accidentally put in 2 and you didn't mean to, so you can always come back in and delete a meeting using the delete delete button within the edit meeting at the bottom.
All right, well, it looks like we don't have any other questions, so we just want to thank you all for taking time out of your day to attend our meeting. If you do have any questions, you can feel free to use the live chat feature. You can send your account manager an email or just give us a call. So thank you again for everyone attending. We really appreciate it. So you guys have a great rest of your day.